WH clauses are introduced by WH subordinators, which we call WH subs. These will be pronouns, and they're going to be hosted under noun phrases. Now, the special things about WH subordinators is that there are some movement that's involved. So if I say, I'm trying to understand this, we can now do an entire WH clause replacement. I am trying to understand what you are doing. But if we take a look inside the WH clause, we can see a regular indicative sentence. You are doing something. And we're doing some movement here. What you are doing. We're not moving the auxiliary element. We're not forming a question, but we are moving the pronoun up to the front, just like we saw with relative clauses. So let's take a look at exactly what different types of movement can look like. So whether it's a subject, direct object, indirect object, they can be moved from their original positions, and you'll get that dependent clause. So I told him what I believed. So you could think of it as I told him I believe something. But that I believe something is becoming I believed what, and that's moving up. We watched whatever was on TV. So I can't really paraphrase this nice, but we can say we watched something on TV. So something was on TV, we watched something. So when we combine it, we get whatever was on TV, that's going to move up to the front, and then we can embed it inside of a matrix clause to create our WH clause. So for what I believed, this is a WH subordinator now acting as a direct object. And for whatever, this would be a WH subordinator acting as a subject. So we can see how, and it's really the noun phrase hosting it, but we can kind of see what's happening there with the movement and how the original function is being carried over under the noun phrase. So here's some examples of some WH clause functions. Predicate nominal. The problem is money. The problem is what it'll cost. So it'll cost something. So what is the noun phrase direct object hosting the WH subordinator in this case? But the entire WH clause is acting as a predicate nominal because of the verb be. So as a subject, this is crazy. You can replace this. What she can perform is crazy. So she can perform something. This is being moved up to the front. So this what is acting as a noun phrase direct object in this case, even though the entire WH clause is a subject. Okay, we can have WH clause direct objects. Proper seek bargains. Proper seek whatever costs the least. So something costs the least. We do have movement, which means this is going to be a noun phrase subject hosting the WH subordinator. But that whole thing is a WH clause acting as a direct object. And then we can even see indirect objects here. Police gives speeders tickets. So tickets are being given to speeders. So we can say police gives whoever speeds tickets. So someone is speeding, that's being moved to the front. So the thing hosting it is an NP subject, but the entire clause is a WH clause indirect object. And we're going to see their internal structure in the next subsection. So this is the internal structure for the problem is what it will cost. So I just want to focus inside the WH clause predicate nominal here, because here's what we're going to see. We're going to see the original sentence, it will cost something. So this will be a noun phrase, direct object, and you'd have the word something down here. So this would change into a WH word, like what. And what will happen is this will move all the way up to the front of the WH clause with the noun phrase direct object and WH subordinator pronoun, and it would sit there with the gap after cost. So that's how that movement is occurring in order to form the WH clause in the internal structure. Everything else is exactly how you would expect. A subject, a predicate, and everything other than the gap. Okay, what about police give whoever speeds tickets? So here's an indirect object. So whoever speeds is our indirect object. I know the tree's a little fat, so it might look weird, but this is a give verb, an indirect object, and a direct object. It is normal. But what we see here is for whoever speeds, whoever would have been the original NP subject with the WH subordinator, whoever here. So what we would do is we would take this and we would move it all the way up to the beginning of the WH clause. And that's how we get whoever speeds. So we do see movement, no matter whether it's subject, direct object, indirect object. We do see movement, but nothing needs to happen with auxiliaries in here. So determine the category and function of each underlined clause and determine the function of the NP hosting the WH subordinator. So we want to identify the clause type and then identify what the word whoever or what or who is. So Charity gave whoever was needy a donation. So it gave a donation to whoever was needy. So this is going to be a WH clause indirect object. Now we're saying this is whoever was needy. So whoever, someone was needy. So it's going to be a noun phrase subject that the WH subordinator is hosted under. So we'll do it like this. We'll put it over here. So what is most important in a library is the fact that it exists. So this is a WH clause acting as a subject. We could say this. This is the fact that it exists. And then we have what is most important in a library. So something is most important in a library. This is also acting as an NP subject here. Okay, the owner forgot who had set the warehouse on fire. This is a WH clause, and this is acting as a direct object. Now, who had set the house on fire? Someone set the house on fire. So once again, here we just have another NP subject. Okay, do you know who Ella gave the flowers to? So know is a transitive verb. So this is going to be a WH clause direct object. And who Ella gave the flowers to? So she gave the flowers to someone. So this noun phrase is acting as an object of a preposition. To whom would be the PPIO, but just who on its own here is an object of a preposition. They arrived at what looked like a small harbor. So this is a WH clause. It's occurring after a preposition. So this is an object of preposition. Yes, that can happen too. And then what looked like a small harbor, something looked like a small harbor. So this is just going to be a noun phrase subject. So those are WH clauses, and now we have our final structure. What I believe is that the sun will tell us why we exist. So it's I believe something that is being moved up into the position at the head of the WH clause. The whole WH clause is acting as a subject. And then for why we exist, well, we exist for some reason. So we have a noun phrase adverbial moving up because this is a meaning, this is the meaning of the WH word gives extra information rather than subject information or direct object information. So that's it for the course. You now know English grammar. I'm pretty sure there's no sentence out there that you couldn't figure out how to draw a structure for and describe. So if you have any suggestions for what you want to see in the course, you can always leave them down in the comments somewhere, and I can make improvements in the future.